Welcome back to another session of our conversation on epistemology. And I want to pause for a second because I really want to do a little more of a conversation on common sense epistemology. I really believe that the difficulty in people understanding epistemology is because we are epistemic every day. We use these concepts every day: opinion, belief, and knowledge. And when we go deep diving, it's hard to separate our day-to-day talk, what's really happening. The philosopher, classical philosopher, deep thinking. Epistemology, what it's really doing is going inside someone's head, in particular the philosopher's head. And if you're with me on the channel, it's about your head. When you go inside your mind, go in there now. I know it may be scary. I want you to go in there and ask yourself, what's in there? We have what we call lots of information, what the philosophers call ideas inside your head. And because it's just raw information, you could easily label one thing as an opinion, belief, or knowledge. When you go through the educational system, the process itself, not philosophy classes, the process itself of taking biology, sociology, mathematics, those processes, and learning to read, those processes gradually cultivate you to cause this natural separation. You soon begin to know that if you have a belief that the sun is 93 million miles away from the earth, you take that to be true. It's knowledge, it's scientific, because you learn that in the schooling process, right? Certain information you gather through the school, you understand what it means. 9 times 9 is 81. You learn that's a mathematical truth. See, the information is all in your head, but it's been vetted through the educational system. You see, the thing about common sense is that when people repeat things long enough, it's so commonly held to be true, we take it in the same way, even if it's a falsehood, even if it's a lie. If you hear something long enough and other people seem to believe in it, by the criteria of belief, we trust in other people, our friends and other people of authority, then we're going to take that statement to be true. And if enough believe in it, we take it to be knowledge. And it could all be a lie that everyone else has bought into. So the idea of common sense, or what group people believe to be true, does influence what we take to be true up here. And so you have a lot of beliefs in your head, a lot of truths in your head, some of them greatly influenced by your family, friends, and of course, your education. When you're doing epistemology, you begin to accept responsibility for whatever it is you're going to utter from your mouth, or whatever you're going to take to believe to be true, which means evaluating all your thoughts, not all of them, but any idea that become critical in an argument or an investigation. And you sometimes realize, I took this to be true because my friends were saying it and saying it, and I believed it, but maybe my friends are wrong. Those are hard things to think about. Similarly, in the educational system, you acquire lots of information very quickly. Some areas you know very well, others you just gloss over it because it's not your major. And the educational system tries to remain like a hallmark, writing books and things of the information that they have vested and called knowledge. See, when you're doing epistemology, as a philosopher, like I'm a living philosopher, I'm concerned with what I accept to be true. What is opinion for me? What is belief for me? What is knowledge for me? When I'm doing my philosophy, I have a clear sense of it. Now, I'm a college professor. When I'm teaching my students, I don't try to in any way to convince them to accept belief and knowledge as I have defined it. What I do, I bring in the common sense ideas, I bring in the philosophers' ideas, and I ask them to begin to choose for themselves. Because the minute you begin to put some kind of definition, understand what generally people think about these concepts, understand what professionals think about this for the philosophers, then you begin to push some kind of definition. When you do that, you will begin to sound like the educated person, no matter where you go, no matter what topic you talk about. Because once you create a criteria and you have this, I understand it's your definition and you're not absolutely perfect, that definition can get better and better and better over time. You don't need to be telling people what that definition is, but when you use it in a particular way, they're going to ask you a question, why you take this to be this, why to be that. You can explain to them and they'll understand your intelligence. You understand your critical thinking skills, because understanding epistemology and how it applies to you personally, right, is very, very important to make progress here. Otherwise, as I begin to present the philosophers' theories and the finding of epistemology in general, you may want to engage some kind of internal skirmish. Don't do that. Don't do that. Rather, understand, at least on my channel, it's about you becoming empowered to understand that you're responsible for your own mind. You're responsible for your brain. You're responsible for that information. I'm an adult now. I can't say my father told me that. That is not a valid answer. My father told me that. My father told me I should hit my wife. No, that's no longer acceptable when you're an adult. All right. Every idea you're going to use when you become an adult, you're going to be held responsible for it. Epistemology is the process where you can review these things before you do something you might regret in the future. But in terms of philosophy, in terms of science, where we're looking at the deep knowledge of reality and things of that nature, you need a clear definition. So I wanted to pause here just to work more and more with this idea of the common sense, because unless you clarify your own thoughts and ideas, unless you understand that the biggest obstacle to epistemology is you, yourself, or me, myself, all right? Unless you understand it's your own framework that's causing you to misunderstand this area, you can't make any real progress, right? So let's turn back to the program.